For those who don't know, I'm a transgender woman, and my journey started when I came out well, almost 3 years ago. First thing I noticed about impact play and BDSM generally is it draws your attention like nothing else to immediately what's happening to your body, the rest of the world, even just the people 6 feet away watching you, they melt away.
Hi, I would like to welcome Rebel Rabbit Alex to the show for the very first time, too.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing
I'm
your
excited to
story,
be
and
here.
yeah, thank you for coming on here. It takes a lot of guts to do, what you're doing, and I think it's helpful for other people in a lifestyle, regardless of gender and sexuality or what kind of lifestyle that you're, doing. It doesn't really matter. I think it helps others to hear real life stories from our peers, basically, people that are in the lifestyle, especially if they're local. And this works out for you because you can tell your story and everyone's going to know so much about you and want to hang out with you. So this works out great.
Hopefully, that's the goal, but we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to start a little bit on um your upbringing and stuff. We don't have to go too deep if you don't want to, but
Yeah.
your the way you were raised and stuff, and were you raised in a liberal family or super
Yeah.
religious?
No, I was raised in a generally liberal family. So, my dad's side of the family was Jewish, and my mom's side of the family was Texan Methodist, going back generations. So, growing up, I noticed a pretty stark difference between the two sides of my family, and I was always a little closer with the Jewish side of my family. They encouraged a lot more discussion, and from a very early age, I felt very confident talking to adults.
That's good.
And yeah, and so putting myself out there, disagreeing with people, that was something that was mostly encouraged growing up. So now later in adulthood, some of the conclusions and differences that I came to between me and my family, we'll get to that later maybe. But no, I didn't, because of the difference in background between my parents, I didn't have much of a religious education. I had the option to get bat mitzvah, but I didn't. So I had a little bit of that religious education, but not much. Um, so yeah, mostly, I would say standard run of the mill, moderate liberal, Central
Right.
Maryland. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I kind of had the same. Kind of grew up Baptist, but my dad
Oh
was
wow.
kind of artsy, kind of artsy kind of family and kind of liberal, very liberal, but also super religious Baptist. But they kind of frowned on this kind of stuff that we do. But
Hmm.
nowadays they're kind of like, whatever. If it works for you, it works, right? I don't
Yeah.
I don't really tell my family about it and wave my flag, say, "Hey, this is what I do. I'm bisexual. I like to do everything, and I like to swing."
Right.
No, I don't
Yeah,
do all
no, there are
that. But
definitely some areas of conversation that you don't go into detail with your parents. But as I have a younger sister, she's 2 years younger than me, and I think she told me like a year ago, like, Alex, you've thrown our parents more than the average number of curveballs, just so you know. So my parents are troopers for hanging in there through all of it. So yeah, props to them.
yeah. So how did you get into the lifestyle? You said you've been in there for or you know,
Yeah.
kind of in lifestyle for 3 years or so, right?
Yeah, so my journey started, for those who don't know, I'm a transgender woman. And my journey started when I came out, well, almost 3 years ago. And I was married at the time. I married young, um, college sweetheart kind of tip deal.
Hmm.
Started dating at 21, married at 24, kids at 27. Um, And yeah, it's a good marriage, I'll have ups and downs, as I'm sure most know. But yeah, so I was with this person, my ex-wife, for 14 years. And that was kind of my world, how I lived. And when I came out, that relationship immediately failed. Just
Wow.
there were incompatibilities, and not mad, not upset. We're all wired the way we are, and sometimes just doesn't work out. So that was
When
one of those cases.
right, when you came out as bisexual, or d
Um,
or
oh, my
do you
ex-wife knew
wanna
I
get
was
into that?
bisexual. Yeah, no, I came out as a transgender woman, so how
Okay,
I look
yeah.
now is not how I used to look.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
he didn't take it so nicely.
she
No,
didn't.
I'm just
No, she didn't.
curious, was it, or I mean, she didn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
But so was it, do you mind me asking, was it like a slow transition or just all of a sudden? Like, I'm always curious about that. And are
Yeah,
you still
so
transitioning, you know?
yeah, I mean, I don't think you're ever really done, at least not for me. I
Right.
mean, I've already come farther than I hoped I would. And I'm really happy with where I am. No, I'm the type of person when I decide to do something, I commit and I go in, I dive in. So there was probably a 6-month period where I was very repressed. Because again, even growing up in a liberal household, um, you know, growing up in the 90s, both at home and at school, learned that there were some things that weren't really safe for me to explore.
Yeah.
And the only examples of, trans people or cross dressers or what have you, or, on 90s sitcoms, and they were the butt of jokes. And, I didn't want to be a
Right.
joke. I want to be taken seriously. I want
Yeah.
to be pretty and
Yeah.
all this stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, so I was very repressed through most of my life. And it wasn't until something started happening in my early to mid 30s that really forced it to the forefront. And once that happened, it was pretty quick. Where I was just like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Even like kind of went to therapy a little bit for it to even accelerate the process and get through it faster because I wanted to get to the bottom of it. Um, so imagine just heavily repressed most of my life. Don't need this shit. Like, I'm married.
Yeah.
I have a kid. We'll just
Yeah.
put that in a box, put it out there, and then eventually just couldn't keep it in anymore, and then it kind of just exploded, and it was pretty quick from that moment. I want to say start to finish like 6 months, 9 months,
Right. I'd imagine you would mention to her, like, honey, could we try this? Could we try that? And she was just like, no, right? I mean,
pretty
kind of like
much.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And that
So,
was the other thing, like, I strictly monogamous for those 14 years, even though that probably wasn't my preference. It was someone I loved and
mhm,
was committed to, and it was a happy marriage. So it's like, okay, that's just one thing I'll have to give up for this
yeah.
relationship. So once that all ended,
Yeah.
other
Was
opportunities and possibilities
right.
opened.
Was this transition something you were thinking about for a long time? Or did it just kind of come on in your 30s?
Um, there were, hindsight's 2020. Um, and I look back, and there were signs, of course. Um, but not growing up with the language, with the representation, I just didn't know. Or hey, maybe I
Mhm.
thought I was bisexual, and there was a lot of that kind of mixing things. Like,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
it's like, hey, maybe wanting to just have sex with men. It's like, oh, maybe that's just the bisexual part, not like, oh, you know, I've been watching porn and like it's just now conscious. I've always been imagining myself as the girl, and all of it,
That's
right?
that's wild, yeah.
So
Wow,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So you guys were married for a while?
14 years.
14 years. And this was towards the end, you guys, the last basically 6 months, you
Yeah.
kinda, I mean, it dissolved because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think within 6 months of me coming out, we separated.
Yeah.
So I mean, It's been amicable. She's a fantastic mom.
Oh, that's
You know,
good. Yeah.
so no,
Oh, you
that's
guys
all
have
been great.
oh, you guys have children that you share or a child?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
a
Good.
beautiful, darling boy who's 10 years old.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's great. How old? How
10
old
years
is
old.
he? Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, wow, great. Well, that's great. So fast forward to now, um, you've had some time to kind of figure out like what you like and don't like in lifestyle now.
Hmm.
And what do you, I mean, oh gosh, I imagine the sky's the limit for you still. Like you're still like experimenting with different scenarios and all kinds of. Tell me all about it. I mean, that
Yeah,
is
let's
wild.
get into
Being
it.
suppressed for 30 years, basically, right?
Yeah. So I started actually with jumping into the kink community in Charlotte.
Mhm.
I had was kind of a girlfriend at the time who was involved, and she invited me, and I said yeah. She started inviting me to BDSM dungeon play
Mhm.
parties and things like
Yeah.
that, and those experiences were eye-opening. They were rewarding. I remember being so nervous the first time I went because I didn't know what to expect, and
Oh yeah.
this was
Yeah.
I was new. I didn't look as good as I do now, and um, but the great thing about um, the kink community, I would say explicitly, because they don't kink shame. It's explicitly inclusive of almost everything. So LGBT, very inclusive. So
Oh, that's good.
just going there, and the parties, they were vetted. They had people kind of working, so there are people looking out. There were very strict rules about photography, consent, and sobriety, frankly. And I thought, I just didn't realize like you could add all these things to have such a safe space. So it was almost, when that was one thing that first hit me, was just how safe it felt to go to one
Right.
of these parties, one of these environments. It was safer than doing like a Tinder hookup, or something like that, or going home with someone you meet at a bar. Um, and especially for someone who was like kind of new, a little vulnerable, a little unsure, it was great. So one, you just get to, you don't, there's no pressure to do anything. You could just be a voyeur. But I'll be honest with you, I did stuff on my first one, and it was a lot of fun. And how empowered I felt, like,
Yeah.
because like most people, I have body image issues and things like that, but still managing to feel kind of sexy. And I started, the first party I went to, there was a girl, and started, fooling around with her. And the next thing I know, I look up, there's a room full of people watching us.
Yeah.
And
How do you feel about that?
I mean, once I got over the, oh my gosh, like there's like 12
Yeah.
people watching us.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was really freaking empowering. Like, because
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow, all these people are watching, and they like kind of think that maybe I'm hot, or that like watching me do this. Like, oh wow, like it honestly really helped with my confidence in the early days. Um,
Hmm.
So, yeah, and just exploring what it's like to live this new life as a woman, have sex as a woman. And I mean, shit, and if you're going to do it publicly to some extent, or in front, like, you really feel like you can do anything, I guess. So, no, I mean, I gained a lot of empowerment and confidence from some of those early parties I went to.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, we
Mhm,
haven't officially met in person, so I wasn't
mhm.
sure. So that's most of your experience so far has been like on the BDSM side?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I've gone,
Cool.
yeah, mostly.
Yeah, because I did read on your profile it was what's a Dami, Mama, or Pleasure Slave? I want to know all about that.
So I'm a bona fide switch. I know a lot of people say that, but I really feel it's true for me. Um, with women or feminine people, um, I do like being controlling. The people at the
Mhm.
ladies' night, could probably attest to that because we had a little had a little fun
Okay.
with
Yeah.
one person. I don't know if I have their permission to say their name, so I won't say their name. But
No, you
um,
don't have to. No.
yeah, yeah. But no, just I I just having thrown a pretty girl on the bed and just making them submit, having my way with them is amazing.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is I also really enjoy being submissive, and I typically that's how I interact with men. Um, not strictly
Mhm.
either way, but just kind of general preference, generally how it goes. And that's a
Interesting.
lot of fun
Yeah.
too. Um,
Okay.
I I have one of
So
my
you're
best
more
friends. Go ahead.
so so you're more dominant or assertive with women and
Hmm.
submissive with men. So yeah, that's
Yes.
like a true switch,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, wow, that's cool. So you've been going there a few or like often, like every weekend, or I mean, what's your
No,
experience level you think there? Still
no. In
more to
fact,
explore?
I would say in the last 12 months, I actually haven't gone to many. The ladies' night was probably the first like party I've been to in close to a year. Not quite a year, but close to it. I kind of switched um, emphasis on some other aspects of my life. Kind of get more ready to like date again, that kind of thing.
Mm,
Also, just a few other projects, either social or volunteering that I've been doing. So, yeah, it was something I was going probably once a month for
mhm.
a year and a half, and then kind of backed off for a little bit. But no, I had a lot of fun at ladies' night. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, and yeah, so
Yeah,
kind of
I bet
getting a
you
little
love
back
ladies'
into
night.
it, finding that balance, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, because I guess you could call us more ethical non-monogamy group, like
Yeah,
swinger poly, that kind of
yeah.
stuff. More group fun, more like social. So
Hmm.
that's kind of on a different level, I would assume. Now, I've never been to a BDSM um, group or
Yeah.
club, so I wouldn't know. But I did hear about the no alcohol
Hmm.
rule and all the moderators. It sounds very safe. Most of them do. So,
Yeah.
so there's got to be a different contrast. Um, well,
Yeah.
I hope you like ours. Yeah, I
You
hope you
know,
like.
I'm sure that I will, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's no, I've been to a few kind of swinger events, and those have had fun. But I guess like what I was just maybe we could talk about what I was really surprised to find that I liked about BDSM, like the whole traditional like
yeah,
latex,
right,
whipping. Like I'll be
right.
honest, that never like really called to me. Um, it was more some other things like power dynamics, just being
Yeah,
again like a pleasure servant. Like I'll just do whatever you want, or the fact that you're so overcome with lust, you just have to have me or whoever, and just they can only submit, that kind of thing. Like, but
yeah,
I want to say it was at my third party that I went to, and that I did an impact scene in the dungeon. And can I talk about that? Is that okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to
Okay,
hear all
cool,
about
cool.
it. Yeah,
Okay, awesome. So it took me a little while to get the courage to try. I was curious, um, but yeah. So I finally tried, and I had I think a woman who did it, and that probably helped me feel comfortable in the beginning. But
mhm.
yeah, it was one of those cross like those X crosses where you get handcuffed to the top,
Yeah,
and I like to
yep,
dress up as again at the people
yep.
ladies' night. Probably saw, so not wearing much clothes, and
Mhm.
the first thing that I noticed, like really not sure, like purely just experimenting, the first thing I noticed about impact play and BDSM generally is it draws your attention like nothing else to immediately what's happening to your body, the rest of the world, even just the people 6 feet away watching you, they melt away. You don't have the
Right.
capacity to worry about them, to worry about bills,
Yeah.
to worry about how you look, whatever. Like it truly all just melts away because, you know, there are physical sensations, including pain, and it truly forces you to be present in the moment, which for me
Yeah.
was huge.
That is
A little bit
huge. That's
about
cool. Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't know
like a
that
little
about BDSM. Yeah.
no, and like a little bit about me, and hopefully this isn't too much. Like I'm a recovered addict. My brain is
Yeah.
always itching. It's rarely content. Um,
Yeah.
and it was one of the few times where it's like, oh my gosh, that part just went quiet for me,
Mhm.
and it was
Mm.
amazing. And the second thing I noticed beyond that placidity of your just your mind and the simplicity of focusing on your body, I noticed that when it was done, just there was a dizzy, euphoric, almost sense of high, just like when you're done, and, you're you're
Mm.
breathing and
Mhm.
you're almost like coming back down, and you're in this weird state,
Yeah.
and um and anyway, so it's I guess not too dissimilar. Like I'm a runner, and when you run and you get that when you just run like
That's
a
what I was
really
gonna
long
say. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds
So
like. Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
No, that's there's only a couple things in life that are like that. For me, it was
Mhm.
music though. Like I could be on the
Oh
stage
yeah.
and I could be on the stage and I was not like I was blacked out, but I didn't remember like what I would say in the middle of in between songs and stuff like that. And then you'd have this euphoric feeling after getting
Mhm.
off. And I mean, for me, I would want to watch the tapes and stuff to see what I said and the things I
Yeah,
did on
yeah.
stage because I didn't know because I was so in the moment and everything else was just melted away. So that is wild. The more I think about it, I can't speak for everything. I'm a musician. Musician and sex or music and sex is very similar,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the more you think about it, we call it jamming. We jam, we improvise, right? And we also do that when we have sex. Yeah,
Yep.
what is that? A Fender bass,
Yes, I have a bass here. I have a guitar here. I'm a
right? But
mediocre
what are we
guitarist.
doing when we're playing
Okay, go
music?
ahead.
We're making it up
Yeah,
as we're
yeah.
going along, and we're feeding off each
Mhm.
other. Or if you're on the
Yeah, yeah.
stage, you're feeding off the crowd, right? So you're kind of having that interaction sexually, is what you're telling me. And
Yeah.
that's amazing. That to me means that yeah, this is
Mhm.
just as important as love or sex. Or I mean, sex, music, love, it's all the same, really. It comes from the same place, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
But
just no, I mean, look, it's just one of those things that if it makes you feel alive, if it reinforces your
yeah,
love of life,
yeah,
and you're not hurting anyone in a non-consensual manner, I guess,
right.
you know,
Yeah,
and like, who the fuck cares what anyone says? You
yeah.
know,
I forgot to ask you before you made a transition, did you try the bisexual stuff with
yeah, a little bit, but
with others or
yeah, I was pretty repressed. So, and there's only really a few years. I mean, I actually lost my virginity to a boy when I was a teenager. One of the friends having over, um,
yeah.
but no, when it became a little more conscious, I pursued it a couple times in college, but frankly, I had to get wasted just to get over my own internalized homophobia and just kind of get the courage to pursue it. I was really nervous, and so a couple times, but it was never good because I was always drunk, and
Oh,
then, I
okay.
started dating the woman who became my wife when I was 21, and, so not a lot of experience really until
Yeah.
very recently.
Right. And now that you've
Yeah.
transitioned, do you have a preferred uh, you know, do you prefer like a different name or did your other name die? All that stuff. Like I'm
So
curious with all
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. And first off, I don't mind any questions so long as I can generally tell they're asked from a point of curiosity,
Yeah, and I
as
don't need to
opposed
know your
to
name, and I'm just
yeah,
asking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, my name is Alex. That was how I was born. I
Oh,
left out on that front. So yeah,
okay. Yeah, and
yeah,
just curious, like, are you taking hormones of any sort? I
hmm
mean, am I going too deep,
yeah.
or is that
No, we
okay?
can. I'm cool going there if you
Sorry.
are.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
no, no surgeries, nothing like that. Just yeah, just hormones at this point. Um, it's been 2.5 years, and they've been, pretty good for me. So, I'm a
Yeah.
C cup, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, you look
So
great.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. I feel
Yeah.
fucking great.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet you do. Yeah. Um, are there any like are there any times you don't feel good?
Oh, thank you, Lynn. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Oh, of
Like, I
course.
mean,
And I mean,
with with the hormone adjustments, and I'm also on hormones. I take a testosterone. I've been taking it
hmm
for 10 years,
yeah,
so I feel the
yeah. People,
troughs, and yeah,
yeah, people
yeah. Do
don't
you also
realize
feel
like
that?
there are
Yeah,
other reasons non-transgender related that people take hormones. Like anyway,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
so I'm actually glad you shared that because it makes it more well known. Um,
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, my ex-wife would tell you that I was a little crazy the first because it's kind of like you're going through puberty
Right.
again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I would say no, I was cool, calm, collected the whole time, and she was
yeah.
like, no. Um, so, but no,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I probably am the biggest change for me since transitioning, including hormone replacement therapy, is the increased peace and at ease I feel between mind and body.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
it just lines up a little more, and even just like little things. Like this is so silly, but it's I think it's a perfect example. I used to not know how to sit. Like I would go to sit down or be social, and no,
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't know how to fucking sit. Like it was so
Yeah.
strange.
Really?
Um, and
Explain that.
just not knowing how to could be because I was always fighting with maybe my natural inclination to how to present, exhibit myself. Um, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
versus what like, be a man, don't be a woman, or don't be gay, or whatever, right?
Interesting. I
And
don't. Yeah, yeah. I don't think about
and
that stuff that often. Yeah, that's interesting that you think about that. Yeah. Wow,
yeah.
that's wild.
So now I let that shit go, and I
Yeah.
act how I act, I talk how I talk, and I have a little more energy now. And I'm less agitated just because
Yeah.
I'm just being normal. I'm just being me. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to be working for you. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't
thank
stop
you.
whatever you're doing. Whatever you're
Thank
doing,
you.
I would continue with it. I mean, was it implants? I mean, are we doing implants, or is that natural?
These are
Wow,
these are me. So
wow.
yeah, that's the actually whenever I get into a spat with my sister, and it's always friendly, but she's pretty sharp tongued and witty. And the card I can always pull out now, it's like, well, my tits are bigger. So
So what do
anyway.
you I hope you don't mind. What do you if someone like you wants to do this, what are the proper methods to do? Who should they see first, you know?
Yeah, so it should always
Um,
start with go ahead, sorry.
where should they get the medicine from? And assuming you take an injection of some sort,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
estrogen, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Just
Yeah,
let us
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Yeah. So I won't go into too much detail. I'll just say that start with the mental component first.
sure.
Um, because it's not that the whole like detransition narrative is it's very overblown. Most people who transition do not detransition. But I would recommend talk first before you do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's always the first component is mental.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
maybe it is something else. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe you
Yeah.
just want to be a femboy, or I don't know. There's a
And
million
there's
ways to
many
be.
ways to be feminine. Yeah, there's many ways to be feminine. Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. And then what's really great is the most of the medical community has caught up with um, Johns Hopkins, a lot of the
Mhm.
main, the most credible medical institutions in the country. They follow, it's called WPATH standards. I won't go into it, but look it all up. It's basically the most credible medical resource on transgender medicine. These aren't
Mhm.
hacks. These aren't the ones, whatever Fox News says they're doing is not what's happening.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but No, what it now is, and for adults at least, it's an informed consent model. So if you go in, basically the doctor's main responsibility is to tell you what these things will do to you, whether it's you're transitioning from female to male, male to female,
Mhm.
whether you're microdosing because you're aiming for somewhere in the middle, some people do,
Mhm.
or you're trying to go all the way,
Mhm.
etc. There are options, but and they'll let you know what you're up against, the pros, the cons, because
Yeah.
there are side effects. There are, um,
Yeah, of
you
course
know,
there are. Yeah, I 10 years ago, I didn't get that talk. Yeah, he just said, "This is
yeah,
what you
yeah,
take, and you take this 1 cc for, like, every 12 days," and it was way too much,
mhm,
and I should have known
mhm,
I didn't know any better. So it's good to know
yeah,
that it's come a long way it's come longer like, do you
yeah,
go into an endocrinologist or just your primary
yeah.
doctor?
So my primary care physician is a kind of doubles. He can do both, and there are a few who can do
Yeah,
both,
yeah,
and there are resources of lists of where you can find that in the Charlotte or the North Carolina area. And
cool.
don't need to get into those now, but can share them if anyone's curious.
Yeah,
But yeah, and I do. I've been pretty stable now, so I do blood work every 6 months. Normally, I'll do blood work every 3 months because I also do STD tests frequently.
yeah,
That's the other beautiful thing of modern medicine. You have PrEP and
mhm,
STD tests. So
mhm,
try to do things safely. So yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I also check my levels often like you, probably 6 months, yeah, just like you
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Yeah, because it really does affect the
yeah,
hormones affect everything in your body, they really do, and you gotta keep everything in check because you don't know
yeah,
until you test
yeah,
for it, yeah. But cool, so, anyway, back to the fun stuff, the lifestyle stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
Let me know, like, what is your, the most fun thing that you've done so far? Like, what is, like, what
Okay.
Uh, yeah, yeah. What's the one or the um what was your best lifestyle experience so far? All right, there we go.
Yeah. So back in, I want to say it was April of this year, I had an ex-girlfriend and I hosted a gangbang for her um, that I also participated in. But I also did a lot of watching, and it was actually in this very room. Um,
Oh.
and it was me and three others. And that, I don't think I've ever had so much fun. There were times, I want to say like 25, 30% of the time, I just backed off and just watched what was happening in all its glory. Because not only am I an exhibitionist, but I also like really just like watching. I
Yeah,
could just
yeah,
I could be very content just watching.
yeah.
Um and yeah, just and it was a girlfriend. That relationship did fail, but it was actually one of the few where I did fall in love with this person. We were in love and it was like really good, and just knowing how much fun they were having, and I would also like check in with them occasionally. Um and just watching how degenerate like this grouping would get. I mean, they went to the bathroom. There was water sports. There was
Oh, wow.
yeah, like you know, and it was great because we sat down ahead of time, everyone together, and we kind of all went through the do's and don'ts and
Mhm. No, that's the right thing
everyone's
to do.
rules. Yeah, no, it's really
Yeah.
important. And it
Yep.
also doubles because hey, words are foreplay, and it kind of talking about it got everyone kind of in the mood. But no, just bringing a few props around. So there's the bed. There were restraints that we God, we tied her to a door, like handcuffed to the door.
Oh, it was
Um,
like that,
and even at one
okay.
point where a couple of us were holding her while a line was kind of anyway. Um,
Wow.
and I want to say
Cool.
it was like 3 hours, like
Oh,
and
wow.
it just flew by. It truly just flew by. And at the end, kind of, I know that I think she was getting worn out, and also most of us had kind of finished by that point. Um, so yeah, and then just kind of what was really nice is everyone just kind of sitting on the bed or chairs around, just
Yeah.
making sure everyone's okay, everyone has water, and it was just a really great experience. It was so much fun.
So you really enjoyed that even though all of the focus was, on her,
Yeah.
right? Okay. But you
Yeah.
had that connection with her and you were kinda, like, in the
Yeah.
dominant
Yeah.
role, and you were maybe calling the shots and stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was one of the tops. I was not the only, but because no, that was for her. It was
Yeah.
about her. It was something she
Yeah.
wanted,
Yeah.
and I was like, hell yeah, let's fucking do it.
Okay, cool. Well, that's one of my 3 final questions. Let's see what else I would have. What and that was a good one. You did well on that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
What would you like to see more in lifestyle or BDSM, whatever your lifestyle is?
Yeah. Um, everyone's wired the way they are, and all groups are free to do their own thing. If a group is LGB and in particular T inclusive, letting that be known. Because I'll be honest, that was one of the reasons why I tended to shy away from more the swinger side of E&M,
Mm,
because knowing what I could see just up front, um, the kink community was always very open about accepted all all was welcome, no kink shaming, right?
right.
Um,
Yeah.
and like there are, and I'd even talked with people who had been either in hotel takeovers or other swingers environments where it's kind of more kind of traditional, like kind of biker guys and chicks and that kind of thing, and maybe
Mhm.
even like room for just bisexual cis people wasn't as much. So that honestly held, I was hesitant to jump into that side, not because I was opposed to it, but just
Yeah.
just
No, it's
yeah.
a yeah, it's weird how I guess you could call me swinger, but yeah, it's very stigmatized. It's like stigmatized, worse than the vanilla world. It's not very inclusive. It doesn't seem like
Yeah.
it is. But
Yeah.
here it is. I mean, the group that I'm trying to build is pretty inclusive. But yeah,
Yeah, and
so you're kind of
and real
saying like
quick,
if you could find more inclusivity,
yeah,
I
and real
mean, is that what
quick,
you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
and real quick, just I mean, based on my limited experience, like I went to the ladies' night, and everyone was super friendly and super welcoming, and it's not that like everyone is for me and I'm for everyone in terms of playing
Right.
or that type of interest. Like, of
Right.
course, like, but
Mm.
just no, it was apparent immediately that I was welcome. It was a safe space,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
able to loosen up and have some fun. I had a great time. So,
Yeah.
you're succeeding. So thank you.
No, it's the people get it. I think they're ready
Mhm.
for it, and I think they've been
Yeah,
looking for this kind of thing. But it's just
yeah,
nobody's really opened their place, or maybe that's I don't know. Maybe I feel like we're ready for it because I feel like our
yeah,
children are more accepting, and every generation gets more accepting anyway,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
feel like we're getting there. I mean, I was told 50, 60 years ago you couldn't even have these conversations about, lesbian, homosexuality, let alone
Mhm.
trans or anything like that.
Yeah,
So we've come a long way, right? I mean,
yeah,
so at least that's what my hopes are, that
yeah,
it will continue to be that way, you know. So
yeah, yeah.
what about what else did I have for you? What uh what's one main thing you look for when you're looking for play partners? Because you're kind of looking for not only partners but like a life partner too, like a I mean
Yeah,
girlfriend, or
I'm
boyfriend.
single. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Um,
single. Yeah. So let us know.
um,
It's cuffing season now. Come on.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, so no, I am bisexual. So no, I mean for me the long-term goal is a partner. I would love to find someone
Yeah.
long term. I would love not to be a single partner for the rest of my
Yeah.
parenthood. Part of it, I truly miss going to bed and waking up with someone that I admire, respect, find sexy, love, all that stuff. It's a significant comfort that I really feel the loss of since my
Right.
separation. Um, so I'm always on, that easy to define thing. Um,
Yeah.
no, in terms of play partners, with I'll be honest, with guys, I'm a little more choosy just because um, more is just a safety thing. Honestly, just I don't even know how to articulate. Just that sense where you can feel comfortable with someone, not feeling like creep. Not feeling creeped out. Just that knowledge that boundaries will be respected. Um, so yeah, I mean, and because a lot of frankly, what I like to do requires a lot of trust.
Hmm.
So, if I'm gonna let someone tie me up, I need to be able to trust them. Yeah, right? Like, it's
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I wish I had a more articulate answer to that. Um, and then when it just comes to women, just all of them. They're all lovely. So,
Just all of them. But yeah, maybe
yeah.
it might be a good time to say, what are you looking for in a partner though? Or is it the same?
So in a partner, so I'm a very energetic and passionate person. I want someone who gives a shit about the world around them.
Right.
I I mean, I volunteer in my time. Part of music for me, like punk rock, there is a political element to it
Yeah.
that's always been
Yep.
important to me. Just kind of the politics of individual
Mhm.
liberation. Um, so yeah, someone who gives a shit and someone who's willing to, um, yeah, put their actions where their words are. A lot of people will talk things, but they don't do anything. And I would love for a partner who, doesn't have to believe in all the exact same things that I do, but just seeing that passion and that energy in them as a part of what helps inspire me to do my own thing. That's a big thing for me. I won't lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, um, I think you might be close. How long you been single for? What, 3, 4
Um,
years? Or how long has it been?
yeah, so I did. I was dating this really cool girl who's since become like a best friend, who's lead singer of a hardcore band.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
but we
Rock
broke we
star
broke.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually funny. My last two ex girlfriends were minor celebrities, but anyway.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the gangbang one is actually a politician.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man.
so I can't go into detail, but yeah, she'd be very upset at me. But yeah, an elected official. But anyway, um, shit, I forgot your question. I'm so sorry.
Oh, how long you been single for? Like a month?
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I guess back to being single
I mean, you're
for
too hot to
about
be like, single for a long, long time, you know?
I think it's been 2, 3 months that I've been back to being single.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, good
no,
luck. Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
but, you know,
And also,
it
someone in the lifestyle would be great because I don't have any plans of leaving.
yeah, yeah, right.
So,
Don't ask me if you should find them in a lifestyle or outside and bring them in. I'm not a good, because I've always brought them in. It hasn't always worked, but sometimes it
yeah,
does. Yeah, but man, I'm so glad. I am so glad that you spent some time with us, darling. I'm really
yeah, me
appreciate
too.
that. I would love to do it again if you want to, and
Sure.
yeah, and I would invite anybody that wants to talk about just shoot the shit with me a little bit, about lifestyle and a little
Sure.
bit about yourself. That's all we're trying to do here. I mean, this wasn't that hard, was it? It's not that hard.
No,
It's
it
not.
was easy. I
Yeah,
had
there's
water,
nothing to be nervous
whiskey. I was
about.
ready.
Yeah, there is nothing to
I
be
was
nervous
ready.
about. Yeah, we're just hanging out, talking, and I'm having some wine. So,
Right.
but but I really appreciate you coming on the show, and we're gonna do this again
Yeah,
some other time,
that sounds
and
great.
I can't wait. Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you, Rebel.
thank you for having me.
All right, have a good evening. Bye.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.